exactly it.
The Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Dorks on Demand. There's three of us, and there's probably going to be plenty of you.
Hopefully more than three of you.
But welcome to the show. We are here to entertain you and give you great delight, and that's what we try to do.
To the best of my abilities.
Yeah, we're doing pleasure.
We are consummate professionals, so if you need something, just shout it out into the
like
the
professionals
chat.
On consummating or
consummate.
Hold up, if they need anything, I gotta talk about these terms.
I would say that I am very well versed
at
consummating.
This is not that kind of channel, darling.
Oh, it's not?
No.
It can be anything we want it to be.
Oh my gosh. Not if we're on YouTube, it can't.
Right.
Well, that's true.
As I'm sitting over here with my Little Mermaid cup.
Hey, but welcome to the show, and we are here to talk about the Mandela effect and other conspiracy theory type things. I wasn't a big I really had no knowledge of this Mandela effect thing, and then
he did not as soon as I mentioned it and was talking about them and kind of showed him some, he didn't just dive into the rabbit hole. Like, he fully immersed himself in this rabbit hole. It was fun, actually. It caused an argument, but we'll discuss that argument.
Yeah, so I guess to clarify a little bit here, when you're talking about the Mandela effect, obviously we know the Mandela effect, the idea of we have collectively sort of a false memory of things that we assumed were a certain way, but really truly weren't. Kind of like the whole everybody assumes Darth Vader said, "Luke, I am your father," when actually what he said was, "No, I am your father," right?
Right.
A collective false memory that we tend to have. But when you talk about the conspiracy theory, are you talking specifically about the one where people believe it's evidence of false realities, or alternative realities?
It's not just
converging,
conspiracy theories about Mandela effects. I just really anything that's kind of out there, because you've got your conspiracy theories on the Mandela effect, then you have conspiracy theories about are there really aliens in the ocean? You know, are there aliens in the sky? What is Area 51 doing? I just feel like we've gotten to this ridiculous place where it's kind of fun to watch all of the everybody's opinions on things. And I think for those in the chat that are not 100% sure what is a Mandela effect, it, like Nick said, it is where we are remembering things, or certain people remember things specifically. They will die on that hill that this is the way it happened or this is the way it was, and it didn't. There's no evidence or no proof. And probably, I mean, the reason it's called Mandela effects is because of Nelson Mandela, where like half of the world population was absolutely and 100% sure that Nelson Mandela.
Hey, Aroogs.
We got into Roogs. Nelson Mandela died in prison. And no, he was very much alive and well.
Yeah, we saw him get out of prison.
Which is kind of scary and funny because I was having a conversation with a friend of mine about Nelson Mandela, and we were like, he's dead, right? Yeah, I'm sure he's dead. And the very next day, the news broke that he had actually died this time. So we joked that we killed Mandela.
Oh no. That's pretty funny.
But
yeah, they spoke it into existence.
The power of, persuasion. But I find them interesting. What's your theory on them? What is like this is how I feel? Like, which conspiracy do you subscribe to?
Well, I think with the Mandela effect, like why that happens, I think that there's a lot of reasons. I think that one of them is sometimes false reporting, like a story will break. And we've had this happen a lot of times, at least in my lifetime, where they're like, Will Ferrell died. And it's like, no, he didn't. Yeah, absolutely not. But it'll go all over the internet and then it'll get posted. And Facebook's not helping at all with that. So
no. You get all the RIP posts.
But then, so that happens. Some of it's repetition. Like I think the Luke, I am your father line was like just people saying it and misquoting it over and over and over again. And the misquote from like word of mouth became more popular than the scene itself. So I think that there's just something about like, I think sometimes our minds tend to change things to like what we think they should be as opposed to what they actually are. And then that misremembering just gets propagated. But I don't know. The big conspiracy theory that I kind of describe to is aliens. I do think that aliens are real. I think that there's a significant enough amount of evidence to show that they are. And I think that now there's like, you even have government officials coming out and saying that like, yeah, no, we actually did find actual unidentified flying objects that have no foundations in like what exists in this world. And it seems like they're similar enough that like they do believe there are people who work for the government that believe that like an alien world is sending probes to our planet. That one I do believe.
I've 100%. Like I don't put no like weird things on it. I'm not like, oh, they're rounding up and killing all the cows. But I don't see it being so far out of the realm of possibilities. I don't look at it as something that is science fiction. I look at it as
not at all. Yeah.
That if you take the facts and you apply logic to them, logically speaking, this is a possibility. So why are we considering it so far out of the realm of possibilities? We had a conversation actually, and I'd like your input on this. Jay said that we are the planet that aliens warn their children about. No. Jay is the person that aliens warn their children about.
I feel I've had that theory too, where it's like aliens send their probes and they take one look at America. They take one, not even just America, the whole world, and they're like, yeah, no,
but what if aliens, like, we are the Rumspringa? For the Amish community, they get to go out and party hardy, right? What if going to Earth is Rumspringa for the aliens?
Yeah.
That
I
could be
wouldn't put
fun.
it past him.
But because we got into this because apparently the term UFO has been changed to UAP
Mm.
because it's no longer specific to flying objects. It
But it
is
is still
now
aerial, right?
no
No, it's
anomalous.
anomalous.
It's
Yeah.
unidentified anomalous phenomenon because it could be a ball of light. It could be a fish in the sea. It could be. But
Could be
here's
bigger
my
than an oil platform under
right.
the ocean water
Right.
because they've seen that.
So here's my question about the aliens in the ocean. Okay. Because if we go deep diving and we find an anglerfish that we've never seen before, we go, oh, look, a new species. What's the difference between going, this is a new species, and going, these are aliens that we're finding in the ocean?
If they're, I mean, what if they were Atlanteans that just survived all these
Is
years,
it an alien if it's been here all along?
I
or
think
is it just foreign to
part
us?
of that has to do like if you look in like you do like DNA analysis and you can look at the actual genes there and you can try to see like where is the origin of these things. Does it seem like this evolved from some form of proto species that we're aware of? And if not, then that's when you really have to ask the question of like, well, then how did this thing get here? You know?
So we're jumping the gun calling it an alien in the ocean when
Well, it's
it's
unidentified, so
it's just foreign to us. It's not alien.
right.
but they haven't identified it yet, so they're calling it
It's
a anomalous, whatever you said it was.
Yeah.
unidentified anomalous phenomenon.
Yeah,
Yeah, UAP. I think that with that, the idea of like getting classified, getting that classification means that they've done those sort of studies and they've found no discernible origin that they can find just through like looking at its molecular biology. Um,
So then, logically speaking, based on the terminology, they have already encountered and studied, and they have the answers. They're not giving them to us.
so, and I will say I'm not a full expert on this, but I do like when I was looking into because I had heard down like the scuttlebutt was like, oh, the
Right.
government is confirming that aliens are real, and I was like, okay, I have to investigate this. So I looked into all that, and I listened to a bunch of these like former intelligence people, whatever their whatever their role was in the government, who've talked about this. And when they've described that, they say that they do those sorts of tests on these things, and when they find that like it can't have, and they don't know of an origin that is like traced to something that exists in this world, that's when it gets that sort of a classification. So I would assume that they would have to do that, but I
Yeah.
don't know for sure.
I mean, logically, we would love to apply logic to our government, but
Yeah, well, good point.
we won't go down that. We're not doing those conspiracy theories today. No. But back to your point with Mandela effect. So are you saying you think it's aliens? Or is it just a
Mandela
combination?
effect? No, I think the Mandela effect can really just be explained by the fact that like there's like we collectively somebody at some point or maybe multiple people at some point misremembered something and spread that enough times and enough
Mm-hmm.
people heard that and was like, yeah, that makes sense. That kind
So
of
it's the
jives
power of
with my memory.
persuasion.
It's close enough to it, and that just became sort of like like an old rumor, you know.
Yeah.
Like we have these
The
things
game
in
of telephone.
games back in the old days, back before we had the internet to let us know and debunk everything. But like when I would have the Game Boy, right, we'd be playing Pokemon, and people would say things like, "Oh, you can teach your Pokemon the Strength TM, and if you lift up this one truck, then the Pokemon Mew can be found underneath it." And it was all bullshit. But like enough people said that, and you'd be
Right.
like, "Oh, really? Oh, I can do that? Oh," and people would believe it until they tried it and found that it didn't work.
Right.
So
So
you know, word of mouth.
it's some of them I can apply that logic to. Like the smaller, the menial, like let's take the Berenstein Bears, right? They're supposedly spelled differently. I don't know what the difference is because I don't really
Hey,
care
Brian.
that much. You know, you can apply that logic to some of the smaller ones. Bronner and I were talking about the movie Grease. The song is Greased Lightning with a D at the end of it, not Greased Lightning, which is a phonetical thing. As you're singing quickly. The D kind of drops off. It doesn't get enunciated in song. So that can be explained away. Is that a Mandela effect? Probably not, right? But when you look at things like one of the bigger ones, let's talk Fruit of the Loom.
Mm.
Okay, there's absolutely no reason that I, as a 10-year-old, would know what a cornucopia was if it were not for the Fruit of the Loom logo.
Okay.
And I will tell you right now, I don't care what Fruit of the Loom says. I don't care what the government says. There was a fucking cornucopia on the goddamn logo. It was there.
Is it? Huh.
And there are people that have supposedly like found old T-shirts and they have it on there, and I'm not going to believe that.
Right. It's all been photoshopped or whatever. But I mean, the corporation came out with a year by year printing of every single logo they had, year to year. And they swear up and down that there never was a cornucopia and
Right.
never used a cornucopia.
But there are millions of people that will swear this is where they learned the term.
This one's new to me. So is it? I'm curious.
Oh, you haven't heard this one? Because it's one of the bigger ones.
No, I mean, I know the Fruit of the Loom logo it's a bunch of fruit.
It's a bunch of fruit. Now, the Mandela effect is that an older version, a couple years ago, had the cornucopia with the fruit coming out of it. Just look it up. There's a picture.
Okay.
Let's see. Fruit of the Loom.
That's not even one of the ones that I would die on my hill.
See, this is what people are saying it was, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I remember this.
I remember that too.
The company has come out and made a statement that there was never a cornucopia in the picture.
Right.
Not ever.
But people 100% believe like that there was a cornucopia. I don't know either way. I mean, it could have been, or maybe. But there are ones that I remember 100%.
Logo.
Yeah, I remember that logo for sure.
You don't remember the cornucopia?
I don't know, but like, also, I wasn't paying that much attention to Fruit of the Loom, to be honest with you.
I can, most of the Mandela effects, I'm like the Berenstain Bears. I didn't pay that much attention. It wasn't that big of a deal to me. My fan theory on it, some of them, yes, obviously quite easily explained away because a person is smart, people are stupid. You find that the fickleness of the mob all throughout literature, all throughout history. The more people you get together, the dumber the collective. That's not an insult, it's just truth, it's facts. Look at your history. But there are some very serious ones that lend to the possibility of a multiverse, multiple timelines.
Yeah, and so that's the conspiracy theory, is that the existence of Mandela effects indicates that there is a
Well, the bigger conspiracy theory is that the government is manufacturing these Mandela effects so that they can see how much they can manipulate people, how much they can feed them and make them, forget history, what parts of history that they can forget. So
there's a cornucopia on it. But those are the two big ones. Those are the two big alternating theories, that A, there's multiple timelines, and then B, it is government experiments to see how they can erase history and control the population through the power of suggestion.
Believe in the historic account of events, so that way, I've heard of both of those. I don't buy it personally. I think it's probably more likely to be a bit of just a misremembering. And a lot of these things too, when I think about them, like Fruit of the Loom, like my exposure to that was when I was a kid. I haven't really worn anything Fruit of the Loom in a very long time. And and same with the Berenstain Bears. my memory looking back on childhood stuff is probably faulty and full of my
What did
emotions
he just say?
on things.
Land masses?
Yeah, how can the government move and change land masses?
What land masses are we talking about? Is there a Mandela effect that I'm not familiar with?
Like Pangea and how the continents were originally all one and then they moved apart. Is that what we're talking about here?
I don't know.
Continental drift.
Yeah, but I lean towards more because you know what, as much as you want to blame the government for everything, I honestly feel like, if you're looking in the realm that um aliens are possible, extraterrestrials, whatever you'd like to call them, what is the major leap to different timelines, to, different versions, to different universes, different worlds, different, you know, is there a
Costa Rica
paradox
used to
somewhere?
be
Was
an
there a
island.
split?
Hmm.
Um,
Right.
but it's not that far of a leap, honestly.
Yeah, I weirdly like this is gonna sound crazy because that's definitely like the more sci-fi explanation, and yet I think that there that might be more feasible. I think the reason being the government does try to obviously
We'll
manipulate,
get there. Hang on.
but the government does try to manipulate public opinion, but it does so in pretty obvious ways. Like it uses the media as a tool to do that. There's just like lobbyists will give stories and also the positions that certain media outlets should take on those things, and they feed that to them, and then that gets reported out to people uh, via television mostly, as if
Hmm.
this is like the truth. And to find real truth, a lot of times you have to actually look at independent media outlets because that are just going to have journalists that report things
Right.
fully factually without trying to editorialize. So I find like the idea that this is the government manipulating history, I'm like, not so much.
See,
But
no, I wouldn't put it past our government.
But so
maybe.
to tie the two things in together, as far as moving the land masses, um, you know, that's something that okay, so they said that South America used to be directly under the US and now it's like completely east of it, right? Like if you remember looking at world maps, it was like this and now it's like this.
But how accurate were those world maps to
Right.
begin with?
So you have on the one hand, how accurate were they? Have we done research? Have we adjusted perspectives and rotations and the curvature of the earth and
Yeah, have we
you know
gotten
um
satellite photos of it? All those
Yeah, that's
things.
the
Yeah.
big thing. A lot of those maps got changed once we had the ability to take satellite photos of the Earth from space.
however however segue into the argument that Bronner and I got into, which was actually a relatively new, well, to me, because like I've scrolled past them and I've like giggled at some of the Mandela effects for a while. This is new to him, but I had not heard this one until recently. And we got into a very heated argument over this Mandela effect because he swears it's one way and I swear it's another. And I would like for everybody in the chat to tell me how many fucking states there are in the United States of America.
How many states?
How many states are there, Nick?
There are 50.
Not territories. How many states?
There's 50 states. I mean, there's
50 states,
like
right?
Puerto Rico, but like it's not a state.
That's a territory, right? Okay. Bronner, how many states are there?
Okay, so
Fucking Tadashi
this lady,
is wrong.
this lady said
I'm
that
sorry,
there
I gotta
were exactly
see.
there were 52. We learned it when I was in school as 52 states. The new 52 or whatever, that is not even the whole DC thing, right? It was the new 52 or whatever. It was the 52 states. And I'm like, I remember that. And when the lady brought it up, I'm like, yeah, there's 52. And she's
I
like
lost my
singing a
mind.
song. She's like singing a song
There's
about
a
50
whole
states.
ass song. Alabama, Alaska, Arizona. I was like, I will sing it. You count them. I said there's 50 nifty United States.
But they
from
used to say
13 original
50.
colonies.
Okay, they used to say 50 states plus Alaska and Hawaii.
They're
That's
singing a whole
52.
fucking song, and
No,
I
there's
could not.
50.
There's 48 continental
Exactly.
and Hawaii and Alaska.
See, we're on that island. So
See,
me and you
okay.
are on that separate timeline as these freaking people.
Somebody get a map.
I feel like, Bronner, I feel like the education system just failed you, my friend.
100%. And I remember distinctly them teaching us 52 states. And
There's
so
only
do
50
other
stars
a
on the
bunch of
flag.
other people too.
It was a
So
lot. If you look at the comments on this one, there's a lot of people that swear to this.
So, as a teacher myself, I can say this: teachers are not infallible, and not all teachers teach things correctly. And sometimes teachers have misunderstandings themselves that they then pass
But-
on to an entire class full of children, who then go on to pass that on to more people, like their friends, and maybe even to their family. And if their family doesn't know any better, they might believe it. So
yeah, or a student teacher was in there
That
during that.
many teachers across that many, like for the amount of
Exactly.
people that
It's a
are
different
agreeing,
timeline.
it's insane. And then another one, I did see that. What is the? Let's poll Nick. Let's see. As a teacher, what is the longest river in America?
oh Jesus, oh my God. I mean, I don't. Honestly, geography was not my strong suit. I found it so boring. I'll just say the Mississippi because I'm assuming.
That's what everyone says.
That's what everybody says, and everybody
Probably.
remembers the Mississippi River being the longest, but now it's apparently the Missouri River.
Okay.
I honestly will not comment on that one because I don't know for sure. If I know for sure, like the cornucopia, if I have very distinct memories of it, if I have like thought processes, because I'm that person, I won't open my mouth unless I'm right, because I don't like to be wrong.
Right. But I think I was taught that the Mississippi was the longest.
But I won't die on that hill, but I will say there are 50 states in the fucking USA.
Yeah, I don't know if I was taught it was the longest, or if I'm just remembering that because I remember it like it went basically from all the way north to all the way south. You know,
Right.
and I was like, oh, it cuts the whole continent in half. Like, yeah, that makes sense. But geography was not my strong suit. I found it so boring, and the worst thing to me in school was when they give you a map and it just had the state shapes, and they'd be like, all right, fill them all in, and also fill in their capitals, and take all the major rivers and do all. And I was like, really? I have to remember what this weird looking mitten thing is called, and like this stupid box? Like, what?
Right.
Why? And when is this going to be useful to me ever?
Not ever. Yeah, geography, I got through it, but it was not a fan favorite for me.
Yeah, even in Trivial Pursuit, I loathe the geography questions.
Yeah. It's a coin toss. Like, I got a 50-50 whether I get the geography ones right, but yeah. What are some of the other smaller ones? Okay, Curious George. Does he or does he not have a tail?
Oh God. Okay. Either he doesn't, or if he does, it's really small, because I definitely had a little plush Curious George that didn't have one.
Okay.
Is that right?
A bunch of people say he had a tail. The truth is he does not have a tail.
Yeah.
I remember him having a tail.
Because he's a chimpanzee, right? Or is he a chimpanzee?
He's a monkey.
He's a monkey. Yeah, because they call him the curious little monkey.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
So he does not have a tail.
Okay.
I
That
don't
is
get it
correct.
because I remember him
But-
hanging from trees and stuff.
And not with his feet, not like with his,
Not like a
appendages.
bat.
Because he was using his feet like to hold a banana, and then his feet was holding a banana, and then his hands were peeling it so that he could eat it, and he was hanging by his tail. That is the mental image that I have in my mind
I had the same
that assures
image.
me that he had a freaking tail. Apparently, he did not have a tail. Yes, Brian is monkey.
his what I remember about him was like this Curious George stories would always kind of go the same way, where like he starts out with the man in the yellow hat. The man in the yellow hat's like, don't do this. Curious George is like, fuck that. I'm gonna go do that. Curious George goes off, does some crazy thing, and then the man in the yellow hat has to meet up with him, save him, or if he saves himself at the end, it's like, George, this is why you don't do that. Oh, whoopsie, learned my lesson.
Right. So Tadashi was talking a lot about the capitals and how, let's see, Anchorage used to be the capital of Alaska, and now it's Juneau. Um, I don't put a lot of stock into those because a lot of those are misremembering. And the reason that I say that is um, there's a lot of like fun facts that people are like, oh, hey, people think this, but it's really this. Um, and
like lyrics to a song or
right,
whatever.
you're singing the same lyric for 30 years, and then you look it up and you go, oh shit, I didn't know they were saying that. And one of the biggest examples, which frustrates the shit out of me, is every single time I scroll past one of those stupid algebra equations and somebody's going, the answer's one. Well, when I was taught math, this is how we did the order of operations. And I'm like, no, you fucking retard. Order of operations has been the same for like 500 years. It doesn't change. You forgot how to do it. There is one right
But there's
answer.
no reason to call them the R word.
I don't to their faces. I say it in my head.
You're a bad girl. Bad girl.
Yeah. Well, so one of those that is, I guess, near and dear to my heart. Now that I'm back in New York, where I grew up, a lot of people think that the capital of New York State is New York City.
Right.
It's not. It's Albany, which is
exactly
very close to where I live now. So like, but I've known that one growing up in New York. Everybody knows that if you're from New York. But if you're not, I totally understand why people would assume that it's New York City. I mean, New York City is the big thing in New York that people know about.
Mm-hmm.
People don't know about upstate New York and the capital region, or like they maybe know about Buffalo from football, but the rest of it, no.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Or Long Island or Brooklyn.
Yeah,
you learn the big things. But
I mean, they know like the University of Syracuse. I mean, there's things they know about upstate, like the Catskills or anything like that.
But yeah. A majority of the public, are they going to be that interested in consciously remembering for the rest of their lives that Albany is the capital of New York? No, they're not. So 20 years from now, they could be suggested, hey,
this is,
New York City used to be the capital, but now it's Albany.
It
hasn't changed. You just remembered it.
Here's one that I remember that rings true to me. It's along the same lines as, Luke, I am your father. Is at some point I remember I Love Lucy, Ricky Ricardo going, Lucy, you've got some splaining to do, right?
Yeah.
And I remember that vividly in my head, but it turns out he never even said that ever.
Really?
At all.
Not a single episode. Supposedly he's never said it.
I've heard that quote too.
So the reason why I have a vivid memory of it, because I remember a skit like on Saturday Night Live or one of the other troupe shows that had like Jim Carrey or something playing Desi Arnaz, and he goes, Lucy, you've got some splaining to do, which is kind of the way I correlate it,
yeah,
in my mind. But
so it came from a popular parody.
Yeah.
Apparently he never said, Lucy, I'm home either.
Really? Because those are like
iconic lines.
Oh, now Brian's saying that same with Beam Me Up, Scotty, never took place.
Yeah, I remember. I almost forgot about that one, Brian. Apparently, Beam Me Up, Scotty was never uttered.
And Obi-Wan never says, may the force be with you.
Obi-Wan.
Interesting.
Obi-Wan may not.
You're
say
a you're a Star Wars dude.
it. Definitely said by someone.
Doesn't he say, "May the Force be with you" when he's talking to Luke? Run, Luke, run.
I'm trying to think who's the first person to say "May the Force be with you."
Be our Star Wars guru.
Someone definitely says it, but I'm like, who did say it though?
See, people 100% Tadashi says that, he's 100% sure. And people are that passionate about it.
Right.
And that's why I share a lot of the same universes with a lot of people. Like Fruit Loops being spelled the way it is, or what are the other ones?
That's why I was trying to look up some of the spelling ones. The Berenstein Bears, we already went over that.
He never says phone home, he says home phone.
Oreos.
ET.
It's double stuffed with one F, not two Fs. Those are just little things. Cheez-Its. It's actually Cheez-It, not Cheez-Its.
But we all call it
Which
Cheez-Its.
I can understand that one because there's multiples of it. So people will change language to themselves. If I'm buying a box of Cheez-It, I'm not gonna say Cheez-It because there's 200 of these little things in there. They're Cheez-Its. It's just like the store is called Aldi, not Aldi's, but we say we're going to Aldi's. Mm-hmm. So we will change language. I will totally bypass Cheez-Its. I don't consider that a Mandela effect. I think that's just changing the language.
But did the Raisin Bran son have sunglasses on?
Or did the Monopoly man have a monocle?
You know what's funny? You brought up the Aldi one, and I'm like, when people say Aldi's, it doesn't bother me nearly as much as when like people say Walmart's. Because I'm like, there's not, no.
I can't say Walmart.
It's a mart. A mart is a market. So no. Ugh, that one bugs me.
It does. It sends like shivers up my spine.
Right, we're going to the Walmart.
Oh, Tadashi. That's another one. So the Diary of Anne Frank does not exist. That is not the title of the book. It is The Diary of a Young Girl.
Yeah.
But the movie is called The Diary of Anne Frank.
But I read the book in school. I read the book. It was The Diary of Anne Frank.
Yeah, I wonder if that's just something where it depends on the who's publishing it and what they decide to put on the cover. I don't know. Because I mean, when she wrote it, she didn't call it anything, right? It was her diary.
Yeah. But the publishing is not going to change from 5 to 10 years. The same people have had it. They're not going to change the name of the book.
That's a good question. Yeah. I don't know. Is that one? Because I'm like, how would you even get the IP like that?
Me and Tadashi were on the same timeline. I swear.
Like a historical document, I'm like, is that one just open source? Could anybody publish an edition of that and call it whatever they want? Yeah.
Sebastian the lobster in The Little Mermaid is now a crab. Is he really?
What?
He was a lobster, right?
He was a red lobster.
Under the sea.
Sebastian.
No, he wasn't long. He was kind of short.
No, he was a crab.
He's a crab.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was a crab.
I remember him as the lobster.
Hold on. Let me look on.
Probably because they
Let me
decided
look on here.
to make him, I guess, you know how Disney likes to make their little animal creatures a little more.
See, me and Tadashi again, same timeline, 100%.
They stretched out and gave him a head that I think.
Yeah, they kind of like just altered the body.
Yeah.
A little bit to make its personification of the
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm looking it up to see if the current picture that pops up. Yeah, that's what I remember him looking like. He's a crab.
Yeah.
They just, I mean, they gave him a face. That's all they did. It's a crab, and they gave him a face.
Right. Which is, I mean, let's be real, that is a little weird, especially because it's like it looks like a fleshy thing protruding from his shell, which like
Right. It elongates him like a
Yeah.
lobster. Yeah, I can see that
It
now.
is a fleshy thing. And then in one scene, the fleshy thing kind of like
That's gross. Okay, let's
goes into the shell.
put a condom on it.
He was
Oh
scared,
no.
and he hid in
The
his
dog,
shell.
the lipstick on a dog. That's Sebastian's face. Oh.
Do you
According
remember
to
the
the
costume?
current evolutionary
Eeyore.
thinking, he'll become a crab anyway. For real.
Yeah. Did Eeyore have patches on him? I don't remember him having patches. I remember
do.
him having
Or but
like
like
a pin-on tail.
He
That's it.
definitely has that.
I remember him having like a like the thing that you have on pajamas that you open up so that
The
you
butt
can
flap?
poo poo. Yeah. That's what I remember.
You remember Eeyore having a butt flap?
Yeah.
Huh.
Did Mickey Mouse have a tail?
No.
Yes, he did.
What?
He had a tail.
Don't you ever remember Steamboat Willie, the little black tail whipping behind him?
But did they? So I'm thinking of like I don't know if it's modern Mickey because I'm sure there's an even more modern Mickey than the one when I was growing up. But like my Mickey had like a, I don't know, peach colored face and all that. And did that one have a tail?
All Mickeys have a tail, according to Walt Disney.
Okay, I think some of my memory of this stuff comes from like plushies that I had as a kid, and I don't know if they had tails or not.
Right. I mean, it's not going to be.
And my Eeyore thing on the pajamas could be the fact that I had like Eeyore pajamas that had a butt flap.
That makes sense. Yeah,
that's true.
Yep, this Google image of the fleshy Mickey has a tail.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean,
which makes sense. Like, I mean, you're not going to put a paper thin tail on a plushie. So.
Oh, of course he has a tail. I know this from Kingdom Hearts. Sorry. Yeah, he has a tail. Duh. Because he in Kingdom Hearts, he at one point like wears one of these weird trench coats, and it has like they all do these trench coats, but his has stupid Mickey ears, and then his dumbass tail protrudes.
I love that part.
Yeah,
that's fun. Tadashi just blew my mind because I've never heard
Mine
that
too.
one, and I will die on that hill. And it's things like that. It's hearing people say stuff like that that makes me believe that there is different timelines or government influence or something is going on, because you cannot tell me that in Pinky and the Brain that they never said, "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" It's now, "Are you pondering what I'm pondering?" Shut up. No, it's not pondering. It's, "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" I'm mad. I'm very mad right now. You have messed with Pinky in the Brain. Okay.
I don't remember either way.
It might have been pondering.
It's not pondering. I watched that cartoon with my dad. Like, that was like our jam. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and I watched them on when they were on Animaniacs, and then they got spun off, right? Right.
Yeah.
That happened, right. Okay. Yeah. It's a good show.
I'm very mad now.
Yeah. What are some of the other ones that we came across?
Other Mandela effects?
Oh man, I'm
or conspiracy theories. I mean, I'm not, like I said in the beginning of the show, I don't know a whole lot about conspiracy theories, and I certainly don't know a whole lot about Mandela effects. I just learned about them day before yesterday. I mean, for the first time.
Yeah.
And I just went down a little rabbit hole. Well, they were just blowing my mind left and right. Like, did Shaggy have an Adam's apple or no Adam's apple?
Oh, he definitely had an Adam's apple.
I remember him with an Adam's apple. Zoinks! I remember him.
And it would like
vividly
bob up and down. And no, he doesn't have an Adam's apple.
Right. Maybe something we imagined, right?
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about Sinbad yet.
Oh, I know. We're saving the best for last.
Okay. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
Ready Whip used to have H in it. Now it has no H.
Because this is the one that, as mad as I was about Pinky and the Brain, this is the one that I am the most upset about.
It shattered
an
her
80s
very
child
existence.
That grew up in the 90s. You can't tell me the movie with Sinbad as a genie called Shazam did not fucking exist.
Really?
You can't tell me that. You have lost your mind. You are an alien yourself.
I remember him in a frumpy genie outfit. I remember that with one of those big round genie hats.
No, Kazam was the one with Shaquille O'Neal.
Kazam was Shaquille O'Neal.
The Shaquille O'Neal one, which was horrible.
Horrid.
Awful. Wasn't Shazam like a made for school, after school movie or something?
I had a VHS. I had the VHS.
I'm curious now. Shazam. I feel like
Captain Sinbad has come out and said that there never was a Sinbad movie. And then he came back and said, yeah, I wasn't Sinbad.
He did an April Fool's skit joke of him like dressed up as a genie, finding the lost footage. But
I remember Shazam 100% too.
It.
Yeah.
I will go to war for this one. I will not just die on this hill. I will go to war that Shazam existed.
I'm not 100% on that.
Shazam was a live action filmation series in the 1970s. Not the same one we're talking about.
Shazam. We're talking about with Sinbad the comedian, not Shaquille O'Neal. I know and that's what a lot of people are like, oh, it's because they're two, black actors, they're two black dudes, you're getting them confused. Anybody that's getting Shaquille O'Neal and Sinbad confused needs more help than I can give you.
Yeah, because Sinbad can make a free throw.
And Shaquille O'Neal is a very tall, dark guy. He's not Sinbad, I promise you that. So even as a small child.
Yeah, Sinbad was kind of on the verge of being a ginger, wasn't he?
He's very light. He
had red hair, right?
No.
If I can try to maybe unravel this a little bit, pull the thread a little, if you will, could it be that there's this feeling of Sinbad, because the name Sinbad sounds like it could be a little bit Middle Eastern, that maybe because of that, there's this thought of, oh, yeah, he played a genie because he has this name, Sinbad. And maybe, just maybe, there is a little Kazam confusion happening. No?
I remember the little boy in the movie. I remember his sister. I remember, scenes like I can vividly picture things. But it's one of those things that, like, you go on to like Facebook groups and you're like, I'm trying to remember this movie. I can't remember the name of it, but I remember this happening with this, and and then they chime in and they help you remember the name of the movie, whatever.
I thought so.
It's not reddish. It's like a brown.
No, I think it's like a red hue to it, and he has freckles.
He does have freckles.
So he's definitely a ginge, or part ginge.
But I will say that, if this continues and people continue to deny the existence of this movie, then I just want to go back to the timeline I'm from. That's all I want to do. Like, that's all there is to it.
I've enjoyed my timeline quite a bit.
Honestly, if people are going to have this kind of negativity in their lives where they're going to deny this movie existed, I prefer my timeline. Let's go.
Oh boy.
There's a lot of those phonetic ones that Tadashi is saying that I ring true with me, like the Ready Whip one. And now he just said the Chick-fil-A one.
Chick-fil-A being spelled differently. I don't put a lot of stock into those because those are very minute. It's just like grease lightning versus greased lightning.
Right.
It's you say things that roll off the tongue. All D versus all D's. as a society, as humanity, human nature is we're going to say things to make them easier. We're going to remember things to make them easier, whether they're correct or not.
But I mean, I don't
So-
know if they're saying that Chick-fil-A was never spelled the way we remember it being spelled.
Of course, I can tell
Um,
as an English teacher, having read many an essay, people are shitty at spelling in general.
Right.
They just are. You know, people spell from convenience. Not many people are just sitting there and memorizing exactly how things are spelled. They do it based on phonetics. They based on how it sounds, based on how they think they remember seeing it. But yeah, there's a lot of spelling mistakes that happen. And I would totally believe that people could misremember how something is spelled just based on how they heard it.
Absolutely. But the visual ones, that's where I get like the Monopoly guy having a monocle. I remember that. And the way that I remember things is through relevance because what the hell am I doing at like 7 years old playing Monopoly, knowing what a monocle is?
I
Like,
remember
how would I
Uncle
know
Sam
that?
having stripes on his hat. 100% remember that.
Things that are relevant
In the
to
poster?
me. So, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the movie. The Wicked Witch never says, "Mirror, mirror on the wall." She says, "Magic mirror on the wall."
But then we found a book that actually showed saying mirror, mirror on the wall.
But the movie that everybody remembers seeing, she says, "Mirror, mirror on the wall." And they say it never happened. And I say they're wrong.
Even if they're right, "Mirror, mirror on the wall" is just a better quote.
Right?
The repetition is better.
Go with it. Go with it.
You know? Yeah.
One of the other ones that I found was Silence of the Lambs. That he never says hello, Clarice.
Hello, Clarice.
He just says good morning.
That one I do believe. That one I do fully believe. Because there's a lot of, I don't know, people get the quotes from that movie wrong all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Is it rubs the lotion on its skin, or is it puts the lotion on its skin? People misquote that movie like crazy.
But to misquoting it and saying it in different directions is different than pulling something and creating it out of nothing. If there was no hello, Clarice, there was no Clarice, there was no hello, I could understand if they altered the order of the words, right? But to put hello, Clarice there where there was none.
Yeah.
That's where things get squirrely.
Mhm.
I believe he said hello,
point.
Clarice, because I can hear it in my brain.
Everybody can. It's iconic. It gets quoted in the voice all the time.
Did we hear it from the movie, or did we hear it from other people misquoting it to us, and then that stuck in our brain, and now we collectively all think that this happened when it really didn't?
It's a good question. The world may never know. Oh, speaking of the world may never know, what was it actually? What was the line actually? Because I don't know what it's supposed to be. Because another hill that I will die on is lamb chop. Okay. This is
It's
the
a
song that never
ends.
Apparently, that's not how it goes.
Isn't it the song that doesn't end?
You're from the wrong timeline, Nick.
Okay.
We can't be friends.
That wasn't it, right?
I think that's what it supposedly is.
Oh boy. Here we go.
You're in the wrong timeline because I remember it being this is the song that never ends. It goes on and on, my friend.
Some people started singing it, not knowing what it was.
I think the official version is the song that doesn't end, but I definitely remember being in elementary school, and when kids would sing it to annoy each other, they would say "never ends." So,
yeah, apparently the official version is it doesn't end.
Yeah, I remember the whole YouTube craze where people were just playing the crap out of that and the hot dogs thing and all the other crappy things that they had going on at the same time.
And I guess
just to annoy people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if we can be friends with Nick right now because
Even if
Wait, Chairman.
my
The
friend.
Mr. Owl never said how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop. A one, a two. How could I remember that so vividly?
Oh yeah, I saw that one, Tadashi. The Mona Lisa is actually smiling now.
I thought she always smiled.
She smirked,
Yeah, that's true.
but I guess she's actually smiling now.
So what did they say Mr. Owl said instead of? Because I definitely remember the a one, a two, a three,
Right.
a three, and that's the conclusion. But is it just the start is different?
Maybe he never said how many licks. That maybe it was the narrator.
Okay,
Maybe
that's
I'm just
fine too. Yeah,
grasping at it.
but that's minor.
Yeah. It's those little things that don't bother me, but when it's the big things, like a whole ass movie that has disappeared from existence, I'm a
Yeah,
little worried about that.
I don't know. I'm curious now. I,
Oh,
I'll
the kid
take
asks
digging
Mr. Owl.
Oh yeah, the
synthetic
kid
trivia.
definitely asks Mr. Owl. The owl never actually. The kid goes, Mr. Owl, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? And the owl goes, one.
Yeah, because he's the one who fucks it up for the kid and ruins his Tootsie Pop. Yeah.
He ruined his Tootsie Pop.
Well,
Nick is a little salty over the Tootsie Pop.
Yeah, true. I mean, he's teaching him a lesson. Kids being dumb.
Don't ask owls questions about Tootsie Pops.
Yeah, exactly.
What does that mean? The mayor of Townsville had a monocle. Is that the same guy that runs Monopoly? Because he never had a monocle.
Monopoly has a damn monocle.
Not according to
And
the,
I'm not convinced.
the
And a lot of
world.
people have used the excuse, oh, well, Mr. Peanut. No, I'm not confusing Mr. Peanut. That's a freaking peanut. How am I confusing Mr. Peanut with the Monopoly guy?
Yeah.
You know, I know I'm special, but I'm not dumb.
Well, and that, I mean, that's just it. Like, any of these things, whether it's misremembering or not, nobody's dumb for misremembering these things. So many of these things were things that were like from our childhoods. That, like,
You know,
Frosty the Snowman didn't have a scarf. You can't tell me he didn't have a scarf.
he had a scarf.
Frosty the Snowman. Oh, in the movie. I don't think he did
Yeah.
the movie, but there's a lot of like there's a lot of iconography of him that does have a scarf for sure. Yeah, in the movie he doesn't. In the movie also it's weird because he doesn't have you know like when you make a snowman and you make like the balls like and the bottom is balls. Oh god, that sounds terrible. But you know what I mean? Like his base is a big old ball and then his midsection is a ball and he's got the head. But in the movie he has like snow legs. He just has like a bulbous body and friggin' snow legs. That was always
Well,
weird.
because he has to run.
I mean, it's got to get around somehow.
You roll.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like what's the name of that droid? And
Yeah, BB-8.
yeah,
That'd be great. I'd love it. I just didn't get it. I'm like, snow legs? Nobody builds a snowman like that. That'd be weird. And it also wouldn't support. Like, it'd just fall
Just topple
through.
over.
Yeah.
My favorite part of the entire episode is Nick talking about snowballs.
Or what about you pretending that one thing was a penis?
Listen, I didn't pretend. I just said there was a fleshy thing. Okay? And the fleshy thing went back into the shell. That's all I said.
Yeah.
It
Sebastian.
Kind of like, I mean, it does look
He's
like
phallic-y. He's phallic-y.
Phallic in nature. And apparently so were the castle spires in the background of the poster. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what is up with that? Thomas the Train is Thomas the Tank Engine?
What?
Like a weird animation thing too, where like in the scene at the end where they're getting married, like the priest has a boner or something.
A boner, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But no, I want to get back to Thomas the Train because that is his name. His name is Thomas the Train. Michael watched that show constantly. It is Thomas the Train.
I definitely remember that one as Thomas the Tank Engine. I'm sorry. I do.
Somebody take
different.
Nick back to
He's
his
he's
timeline.
definitely on a different timeline.
Nick is on a different timeline.
Luke, I am your father. You are part of a rebel alliance and a traitor. Take him away.
Oh man, I don't know what to do with myself right now.
Easy to confuse Frosty with the Burl Ives narrator character from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Sam the Snowman. I know Sam. He looks like a full regular snowman with a mustache.
He looks like the snowman from Frozen.
Do you want to go?
Yeah.
Olaf.
Yeah, although
Isn't that Olaf?
yeah, no, you're right. Sam has more of the, I guess, traditional snowman build of like he looks more like a ball, whereas
Like an
Olaf
actual
has a really
snowman?
kind of
Didn't Alice in Wonderland wear black and white socks when she was playing croquet with the queen?
No, her socks
or
are white.
stockings, right?
Yeah, stockings, tall socks.
Frosty only got legs after he came to life.
Yeah, Frosty had legs when he came to life, Mom said.
Yeah.
Which was the premise of the whole show.
If he's coming to life, he should have.
Should have just been like BB-8 and rolled around. Zoom, zoom, zoom.
It would be cool animation, is all I'm saying.
I think it's
It would've been
a
fun.
beautiful idea.
It might have been easier.
Maybe.
Probably would have been
The
easier.
animation.
True.
Oh man,
Less complex anyway.
we've had some doozies.
Yeah.
But I challenge everyone to go down this rabbit hole that I went
It's
down
fun.
because I mean I was literally lost for 8 hours.
Yeah. I've looked into some of them before, and there are those ones where you see it and you're like, what? No, that's wrong. That can't be. And then the reason why I'm more willing to accept that like these things are just misrememberings, collective misrememberings, is because I've looked up the clips from some of them and then seen like, oh yeah, no, that I was wrong.
So, Tadashi, I vouch that Eisenhower's never been on the dime because I went to Eisenhower High School. I know what that man looks like. He ain't never been on the dime. It's not him. Because we had a bust of Mr. Eisenhower at my high school, and his head was a little shiny. He kept getting rubbed off. It was you rub it for luck. And yeah, no,
I remember him being on the dime
He
too.
was not on the dime.
He was on the dime for
I can
us in
promise
our
you that.
universe.
I can promise you, he's not been on the dime.
What about Andrew Jackson's never been a president? How about that?
Yeah, I know that one because I learned that he is the only figure on money that was not a president. So that's how I remember it. That is how I remember things, is by making
What do you mean? Ben
connections.
Franklin's on
Regular money. Bro, we
Money.
were poor. I lived in the ghetto. We didn't see $100 bill. Okay?
Wait. So is the statement here that Andrew Jackson was never a president?
yeah.
What?
Okay, here we go. Different timeline.
Andrew Jackson was president?
Look it up.
All right. Google search. Andrew Jackson.
His presidency.
U.S. president. Yeah, didn't he do the Trail of Tears?
Yeah, he was president from 29 to 37. So I misremember that one with my connections.
So he was president?
So he was president.
Yep. Yeah, he's the one that's responsible for the Trail of Tears. Yep.
So who wasn't a president? John Hancock wasn't a president, right?
Oh, that's what it was. You're misremembering that he was on the $20 bill. Gotcha.
But he was a president.
Yeah, but he's not on the 20.
Who's on the 20?
gonna pull
I
out.
don't carry
money
cash.
real quick.
Don't ask me these things.
Here's a 20.
Old Hickory was definitely a president. Who is that?
This is Andrew Jackson, isn't it?
I'm reading it. Hold on. It is Andrew Jackson. So why are they saying that
Yeah.
they're misremembering?
No.
Oh, they're saying that he's not on the 20.
Oh, so they think somebody else is?
They think it was somebody else. They were thinking he's on a different denomination, like the 10 or the 50, instead of being on the 20.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. That now I understand that one.
I heard it as he was never a president.
Huh.
Old Hickory was definitely a president. Who's Old Hickory? Is that his nickname?
Put Jimi Hendrix on the 20. Put Jimmy on the 20. That's great.
No, you know.
That would be cool if they put rock stars. Huh?
Something I noticed about Jimi Hendrix that drives me crazy. This is not a Mandela effect thing, but like, so Jimi Hendrix was a massively talented and super influential guitar player. Incredible, incredible. And yet, go to a classic rock station, and it is so rare that they play something by him.
I do too. What
Absolutely.
happened?
That irritates me so much.
It's almost like he's been buried. Like
Yeah.
you do not hear him on the radio ever.
I hear him on the radio
No.
along the Watchtower. I mean,
I anytime I turn on a classic rock station, I'll let them play for hours and just not hear Hendrix. And I don't know, like he's incredibly talented, massively influential, did incredible things with the electric guitar that, you know, spawned generations of music, but
Groundbreaking. Absolutely.
self-taught.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Upside down. But that was fun.
You still listen to the radio? That's a good point.
Yeah, okay.
I listen to the radio.
Just on your way to work. And why? You have Spotify in your car.
Because sometimes I get bored of listening to, this is going to sound so stupid, what I want all the time.
No, that doesn't sound stupid. And Ray, I'm the exact same way. It's like I know that if I'm given the choice, I'm gonna go to the same old things. And so rather than do that, I want.
Yeah, I remember one mission too.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I'm like, you know what? I'll play the radio on the way to work, and I'll do Spotify on the way home. Because on the way home, I need very specific things to wind down, and I get frustrated because I don't get them on the radio. So on the way home, I'll play things.
So the way I remember it, sorry, getting back to the topic, the way I remember it was one time walking on the moon, but there has been a few trips to the moon.
Well, I guess that could qualify as a Mandela effect and a conspiracy theory because we never really went to the moon anyway.
Oh.
Oh no.
Yeah, they played Hendrix. I know they do.
Okay, that conspiracy theory I think was pretty thoroughly debunked by the fact that the technology to fake the moon landing for the time period would have been even more remarkable than the technology it took to get to the moon. It's like in terms of video editing, they didn't have that back then.
I'm just saying. They really didn't have to have a whole lot of fantastic equipment to debunk it because they didn't have fantastic equipment to do it.
But they had alien technology.
Right? There's all them aliens running around here.
There you go. All the Apollo missions there.
So speaking of aliens, this is going to sound so silly, but like one of my guilty pleasures is Ancient Aliens. Thanks, Mom. Fucking got me into that shit. I think it's fun. I think honestly, it's more of a brain exercise for me to hear about and think about different ways things connect than it is actually like I believe this.
Oh, what about like all the cow mutilations? That's fascinating.
That is chupacabra.
Aliens.
Chupacabra.
Aliens or chupacabra?
Maybe chupacabra is an alien.
Maybe.
But
That's
I
a
like that
possibility, actually.
Your debunking of one conspiracy theory is another conspiracy theory. I like
Yes,
that.
that is how I roll.
All right. Anyway, it's come to that moment in the
It is that
evening.
time, but this was fun, guys.
We had a blast. Yeah. Chat was on fire.
Love it. You guys reminded me of some that I totally forgot and then made me angry. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you guys. The chat was awesome. And we also like to thank our producer, the man behind the scenes, the Wizard of
Brian.
Oz, Nick Dugan. Round of applause. Thank you. Thank you very much. And yeah, we'll be back here next week with another episode of mysteries and
Just good
magic
shit.
and
We'll have good shit.
nerdy shit. Yeah, pretty much nerdy shit.
Sometimes.
All right. Peace out.
Night,
Love.
guys.
Peace.
Thank you.